what everybody chooses to believe it is, because it's just something used to keep track. Now let's go to there's a video that I want to show you guys, and it's the first one is going to be of course, well, it's not of course, but he's one of the main people out there talking about. Of course, he's a astrophysicist, so of course we're gonna expect to hear from this Dyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson. So this is what we have so far.
Time historically were derived from cosmic rhythms.
Hold on.
So what today we would say the rotation of the Earth. Measures of time historically were derived. All right. So all measures of time historically were derived from cosmic rhythms. So what today we would say the rotation of the Earth, but in the day it was the movement of the sun.
Yeah. So he's updating our thought processes. This is why I'm showing this video, because as you go back in time, people didn't consider time in the same way. There was no hours and minutes. There was none of that. It was just the sun came up, it's time to go to work. Or if you go back to more primitive time, when you got up and when at dawn, that's because you was hunting something and you wanted to track your prey. And the best time to track your prey is early morning, when they're just getting up in the coolness of the morning and they're hungry and they're out looking to forage. So as a hunter, if you're looking to catch something, the best time is early in the morning. Early in the morning. Find me something to kill. So that's what you do. You go and you get up early. It had nothing to do with what your clock said or what your watch said, because there was none. It was an automatic thing. People tracked the movement of other animals, and that's what it was until we became farmers, and then it was when's the best time to get up and get started with the work so that we can get it done and by the nighttime. By the time you can't see, because you had to work by the day. Otherwise, you'd be burning down your fields with torches all the time. So this is where I brought this up.
Gave you a day, and then the sun's position on the sky throughout the days differed, and temperatures changed, so that gave us the seasons.
See, we didn't have time. We went by the day and the seasons when the weather changed so that we could plant food. When's the best time to plant? When's the best time to harvest? All of that. That's why I think he says in here when time, the way we look at it now, when it was invented.
And then, of course, back then it was the sun doing all this, but we would learn that we rotate and we revolve around the sun. So that took really long to figure out.
See, we're not, and considering that mankind or civilization as we know it are thousands of years old. Pay attention.
Disturbingly long. I mean, only like 400 years ago.
Only like 400 years ago did we come up with some sort of time and then a calendar and all of these things. Well, I'm not sure about the calendar, but the time, I'm not sure if the time system came first, which came first, the chicken or the egg, the time or the calendar, but they all came up somewhere around, I guess, the same. I think the calendar came first because the seasons were more important, and then time, minutes, seconds, and all of that. Especially minutes and hours, and because minutes weren't important, it was then the hours, and then they broke it down into minutes and seconds.
And so what it tells you is that you can keep track of time even though you have no freaking idea what's going on.
you can keep track of time even though you have no freaking idea what's going on. And that's what you're going to hear time and time again. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they come up with something that's close enough to fit what they know that you see every day when you go outside, when you experience the world. They know that the things that they say have to fit with what you live with. So that's how they calculate their theories. They have their mathematics that they plug things into, but that doesn't mean that they understand it. It just means that the mathematics that they come up with is the closest thing that represents what we see every day.
Because all that matters to you is that things repeat.
Yeah.
If you have something that repeats predictably, then you have created a timekeeping mechanism.
And that has nothing to do with man. The day has been repeating forever as long as man has been walking this planet. So we can't say that just because man has some gauge of a system that we built in order to keep ourselves on a system so that we know exactly what time we could tell each other. Because before it was high noon, dawn, dusk. That was basically the terms back then. That was the best way. Yo, I'll meet you at dusk. I'll meet you at high noon when the sun is up highest at the highest point in the sky. This is how we gauged time, and then we started being able to break things down to the hour, and we expected you to be there at this particular, because people didn't have money to buy watches and keep a watch, so they kept that until the basics of people, the most basics of people can tell time, and then not only tell time, but keep a timepiece with them. Oh, and back in the days, clocks were everywhere. We had big clocks everywhere. So in the street, just like phone booths, that's like nobody even could understand these things today. Because back in the day when I was young, and the 50s, the 60s, the 20s, that's how the world was. We didn't have all these things. It was newspapers and clocks all over the place. You had clocks in the middle of the street, on street corners. And this is how people would get. I should have looked up pictures and showed y'all. I had no idea. This is just when my mind was going at this particular time. But this guy, he says, according to, let me see, Carlo, The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. Alan Lane. I don't know who Alan Lane is, but Carlo Rovelli, Alan Lane. Rovelli, Alan Lane. Okay. Order of Time. According to the theoretical physicist Carlo Rovelli, time is an illusion. Our naive perception of its flow doesn't correspond to its physical reality. See, our perception of the flow of time, it does not correlate to the physical of what we see every day. That's why you have leap year. It's not, it doesn't correlate. We make up something and it fits close enough and we get used to it, so we become attached to it, and to the point where we can't do without it. And that's what it is. It's a system of control, just like in the Matrix. And that's what this world is. We don't have to live this way. We can change it anytime we want to. We can be free, but we've been conditioned to become slaves to our own Kool-Aid. We've been drinking our own Kool-Aid for so long that we believe it, and we've adapted to it, and we don't want to see it any other way. That's why if you're still connected to the system, you're a possible agent. you are willing to fight against your own nature to be free just for the security of the matrix. And that's what these systems do. They build the security for you. Even though we're not, you think that all of these things that we do make us more important, but what are we doing that's so earth-shattering besides destroying the earth? Well, destroying our ability to exist on the earth, because we're not destroying the earth, we're just destroying our ability to exist, to survive, with our laziness and our unwillingness to see what life is supposed to, its natural form, and what we were intended to be, in order to be these soft, moisturized ass, weak individuals that depend on other people. Because that's what I'm going to be doing, the government and all of these other things, because all of these things we listen to and we have faith in, just like words and religion were created by people. And we have faith in people who we see every day are willing to take advantage of you whenever they get the chance. Whenever you get the chance, you'll see someone's taking advantage of you. And that's what the power matrix is all about. It's about looking for yourself. Don't be trusting what other people tell you. Don't even trust what I'm telling you. Look for yourself. If you think time really exists, okay, let me keep going with this, because this guy is basically speaking for me. And then we're going to go into some other things, which is going to help to push my idea even more forward. I hope. Because, you know, I think differently. I think. Okay, much... and he argues, okay, physical reality indeed, as Ravelli argues, in the order of time, much more is illusory, okay, including Isaac Newton's picture of the universal ticking clock. Even Albert Einstein's relativistic space-time, an elastic manifold that contorts so that local time differs depending on one's relative speed or proximity to a mass. See, I don't believe in all this bullshit, because I don't believe that time can be just messed with. I think that these people are going by what they see, by what happens to physical clocks. But I don't think that it has anything to do with time. I think time does not exist. It's an absolute fabrication to its highest form. It's an absolute fabrication. The only purpose of time is to keep us all working together, so that we can all, as a collective, understand certain things. Otherwise, we wouldn't need time zones. There wouldn't be time zones. Even on Earth, it wouldn't be any time zones. It would all, everything would work at one time, period. But we're going by the rotation of the Earth and the way the light hits the planet from the sun. That's what we're going by. So that's not time. That is not time. Even as we understand it to be, that's not time. That's because because time is according to what, maybe I should have talked about. I think he said that from the beginning.
Motion looks simple.
Okay.
Because you cannot describe motion without some reference to time.
See? Describing, in order to describe, even though we don't need that. When do you need to describe motion? It's very, very rare, unless you're doing some kind of calculation. So it's very rare that you need to describe motion. So time is not really a necessity. It's just something that we use to keep coordinated so that multiple people can operate at the same periods of or same moments without getting discombobulated or working. How may I put this? Coordinated. It's being able to coordinate your actions. That's what time has been set up for. But the reality of time, it can't function in the way that people think it does, because time is not real. It's just something that we use, just like words. Words don't exist. They're just something to basically describe the emotions that we've shown as primal beings. All primal beings show emotions. Animals are very direct with their emotions. People use words. Religion, that's just something of something to give us hope and a promise and a feeling of safety and comfort. And again, to give you a set of rules to live by. All systems of control. Then you have time. Again, basically, it has no purpose for the average Joe except for to keep you working on somebody else's system. Basically, to make sure you get the time. Everybody get to work on time. Everybody is supposed to get up at a certain time of day so that you can get to work at a certain time and you can get your kids to school. Coordinated efforts. Your kids supposed to get to school at a certain time so that they can handle their business, then come home, do their work, and then by the time you come home, everybody's ready to eat. So everybody's coordinated. That's basically the whole purpose for time. Otherwise, on the real just getting food, supplying food, we've changed the earth to the point where we need time because we don't hunt for ourselves. We deliver. So there's no real purpose for going out to hunt, because we destroyed the system now. People are too many people to go out hunting, because they wouldn't average life on the planet the way we butcher them, and because our numbers have grown out of control. We needed a new system. That's when farming and all of that came in. Now we see that our efforts to control every aspect of the planet is creating some backlash with the environment. Now all of a sudden people are trying to say, "Oh, we don't need to eat meat. No, we should cut that out of it." People are ridiculous, because if you notice, with a lot of things, I'm going to be talking about that. With a lot of things, we need to get back. We need to be the stronger individuals. Sooner or later, we have enemies as the United States. People think you're just going to do stuff without something that's going to come from that. There's always going to be consequences, repercussions. There's always going to be consequences and repercussions. So if anybody tries to touch my cornbread, but anyway, yeah, there's always going to be consequences and repercussions if you mess around. I'm sorry, whatever those words come to my head, takes me right to the movie. Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, Life. Okay. So time is just something that we use. It's not something that we need. If we take it back to where we can set up a new system, we probably can still use it. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of everything that we've ever created in order to be a better race of people. No, but we do need to at least examine things for ourselves, because I think people cause themselves a lot of anguish and problems because we believe things to be so set in stone when it's not. Things are not set in stone. You listen to the grass say, we don't know. We don't know what time is. We don't know, even though we don't understand. Now we're going to listen. I believe we found this guy before, and he said the same thing.
All the time. Quantum mechanics is a great example of a theory that works. A theory that makes sense is a little bit too much to ask sometimes. It is, of course, a long-standing relationship between physics and philosophy, or between science and philosophy more generally. There is, let's say, a usually friendly rivalry. The two disciplines are a little bit...
I don't care about your physics and philosophy. I just want to hear you get into your spiel.
Helpful, even to physicists like myself. What philosophers try to do is to really understand the logical inner workings of something.
No, they don't. They try to pull something out their ass that makes sense, that makes the average person or the intellectual, because you got to remember, philosophers they were only important to the higher ups. The average person gave a shit about a philosopher. Plato and Aristotle and all, those are only important to the aristocrats and the people, the senators and the nobles and all of that.
Physicists like myself are often very happy just to get a theory that works. A theory that makes sense is a little bit too much to ask.
Oh, you see that? You see that? They just need something that works, that fits a model, something that makes sense. We'll just skate right over that. We'll just skate right over that point. We don't need something that makes sense. We need just something that works, something that fits the model, so that when we talk about it to people, we can gaslight that ass. Have y'all believe whatever we say. Y'all believe everything. Because y'all don't want to understand things for yourself. You have to listen. People can tell you shit and have you believe in nothing. All because, how do you think so many people get into cults and all of that? Because you get gaslighted, because you want to believe. And because you want to believe, you stop with all of your questioning, and you just open your mind and go, wow, like a kid. Like a newborn kid that has no other way of understanding that, yo, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter who this person is. He is motivated to tell me whatever it is that he wants to say, because he's being paid to. These dudes get paid. Physicists get paid to come up with theories that work, that just fit the mold, so that they can get big scholarships, jobs with universities, get to go on and write these theoretical papers that win them peace prizes and $1 million grants and all kinds of crap like that. So they are motivated to gaslight as much as possible. And time is one of those things.
Sometimes. And you might think this is not possible, but we have it all the time. Quantum mechanics is a great example of a theory that doesn't completely make sense to us, but it works. So for a physicist, that's fine.
You see, quantum physics, it makes no sense to them, but the mathematics, because that's what they use. They have all of these sine, cosine, the time, space, this, that, and they do it, the fractions, and you seen them, all of the. Let me see if I can come up with something like that. Let me see if I can come up with. Hold on. Calculations. What time? how to calculate time. Okay. I should have did something more difficult, like the theory of relativity. Yeah, because time formula. Time, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Nah, these are like rate times time equal distance and all of that type of shit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how do you calculate time besides. Let me show you. I just want to show y'all how they come up with ideas. Okay. Okay, the formula for what? Let me see. The relativity. Come on, man. Okay, I messed up. Calculations for relativity. E equals MC squared. Yeah, but how did he get there? If you see how these guys calculate outer space stuff like a light year and things like that, this is what I'm trying to find some kind of calculation that shows the big equations that they come up with. Yeah, this is basically what I'm trying to get to, but the more difficult calculations have a whole lot more. Like they'll have a slash and then a whole bunch of stuff underneath there with these letters representing, like the M is mass, and so they're calculating things, but they're using letters, numbers to do that, and they're not showing the numbers because they've already done the work. Let me see if they can show it in there.
Hey, it's me, your skin.
No. Okay, I don't want to see no skin commercial. All right. Okay. We won't go there. This is why I hate searching for shit online. I should have looked for this, but again, I didn't know I was going to be looking for the actual formulas on how they got there. I just want to show that they use math to calculate everything that they see and talk about in outer space, that they claim that they know. They don't. They use these formulas and they plug things into it. And I'm saying they don't understand the things that they plug into these ideas that they're talking about in the first place. So why would you believe anything that they have to come up with? I was watching my boys. Okay, that was Comic Skate. Yeah, let's get back to him.
For a philosopher, they would like to do a little bit better. The same thing is true with time. We have an understanding of how time works in a physical way in certain well-defined circumstances.
You have no choice. You have no choice because there's the only way that y'all came up with the system of time in the first place, which is Hold on. We check this rotation of the planets. We check the rotation of the planets in the solar system, especially our own. And that's where after we got the knowledge, we gained the knowledge, we then determined how many hours it took for the planet to rotate, how many days it takes to, in a year, it takes for the planet to go around the sun, which is a year, 360 days, 365 days. And they break it down. That's how you came up with time. There is no other calculation. There is no other calculation. So then they try to break it down even further in some educational way to try to deem that they've come up with something that they have no other way of understanding. This is the only way they could understand it. All other forms is just shit they pull out their ass and trying to feed you. This is literally pissing on you and calling it rain. All right, hold on.
But there are still philosophical questions. So in this lecture, we're going to sort of lay out what some of those questions are, and that will help us understand the scientific aspect that we'll uncover as we go on through the rest of the lectures. So what do we mean when we say time, especially as opposed to space?
Time. See, I don't see, because they want to. They can, as they understand it, you can only represent time as it's connected to movement, and movement deals with taking, moving through space. That's what their whole idea is. You have to move through space from one location to another, and the time that it takes to get there. So that's the only way they can understand calculating their time, because they connect the two. Time and space has to be connected. Without the motion in their minds, there is no time, I guess, because it makes no sense to me why they connect those two at all. Time would be universal in my mind. It would exist on a level that man has no way to comprehend it. There's no way for man to comprehend time. It's something, without the planets, we have no way to understand. And as soon as you leave Earth, the way that we understand time ceases to exist. So let's move over here to what else.
The inevitable. Well, no one knows. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic. Situations and even the most simplistic equations.
Yeah, I'm saying. You hear what he's saying? You can't make me do anything. Hold on. He's gone. You can't make me do anything. Why would that be important? You can't control me. You can't make me do anything, because it's about control. See, all the systems of control are meant to give you what this is.
Choice. The problem is choice.
The problem is choice. People, if they think they have more than a choice, if they think you have a choice, you can't control them. There's no way to control people. That's why you need systems of control. And time is one of those things. Like I said, it keeps you on track to do what other people need you to do. Most of the times, you're trying to keep on track with somebody else when you need to coordinate or correspond your movements with someone else's. So that's why with everything, in in so-called society, you are given very limited choices. And that's how you are controlled, because you think that you're getting choices that you are getting to choose from, but truly, you're only getting the choices that they want you to have. So you're choosing through the things that they want you to choose from. It's like I'm saying that you can have, if you do something that I want you to do, you can have a piece of candy. And you could get to choose the piece of candy in my left hand or the piece of candy in my right hand. But it's not pieces of candy that you get to choose from. I get to choose the pieces of candy. So no matter which candy you get, it's not going to be one of your favorite pieces of candy. They're going to be either my pieces, the pieces of candy that I like best, or just some random pieces of candy, whether they're good or not. It could be licorice that you be getting, right? It could be one of them, the black licorice, or butterscotch or something like that, or some peppermint. You know, you might not like that candy. But that's with the same thing with elections and everything else. You have the illusion of choice, but if the choices are only from a certain individual's bank of choices to choose from, then are you really getting a choice? Or you basically, what if either choice is what they want you to choose? What if either choice is, hey, we're cool with it. Either choice is fine by me. That goes for elections and everything else. What if either choice, no matter how many choices you think you're choosing from, it all comes down to the bottom 2 or 3, right? And then what it is. Who says what you're choosing from? What if you got rid of all of these choices and you're just allowed to do you? See, they can't have that. That's why they need these systems. No matter how, like I said, no matter how it might have started, no matter how these systems might have started, now, in this day and age, all of these systems are used in conjunction to enslave you. Just like the Matrix.
The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime.
Now, he says that because he thought it was perfect. It was a haven, a heaven from people. He thought that if he gave them everything, gave people everything that they thought, that it would be great. But what happened is that people's minds couldn't handle it. And that's what's going on with a lot of things today. You see that people are arguing and fussing, and they like to fight. And while you fight, other people are doing what they want. And you're busy arguing, fighting and tearing apart other people on your level. You're not fighting against the system. You're not fighting the Matrix. You're an agent fighting against people who are trying to save you. You are a possible agent. So whenever an agent needs to move through you, you're not disconnected. You're still connected firmly to the Matrix. And that's what it's all about. They use you. They use people as just like what you see in comic books and everything else. Movies, they're using the woke to fight against the non-woke, but meanwhile, the people in charge do whatever they want, and they're taking control. Their control gets tighter because you're fighting against. If you would be a bigger, more powerful adversary if y'all work together. See, all of these individuals out here tearing at each other and pulling this way. Okay, you got your alphabets. They're all pulling in different directions, right? You got your cross, your trans, you got your cross dressers, your transsexuals, your gays, your lesbians, your furries, and all of these other subsets. They're all pulling separate directions, even though they claim to be working together. Then they're jumping on the back of black folks, which have no choice. We're black because we're black, period. There's no decision making inside this whatsoever. So then they jump on the backs of them, and I'm sure that some people want to combine efforts, but it winds up being one working against the other, or one being used to climb over the back of the other, or no matter what, one's being used to tear down the other. So no matter what, there's no real coming together to work as one to get over the system of oppression that you claim to be fighting against. So you're always tearing yourselves down. That's what the crabs in the barrel scenario is all about. So no matter who you are, crabs in the barrel, each crab is an individual identity or some subset. If you see on the other side, there's only 2 to 3 subsets. That's it. That's it. But on the other side of politics, they have black, Latino, everybody's individual votes pulling in separate directions. And I bet some of those directions are being pulled in the opposite direction from what we, because if we're all pulling, you're eventually going to be pulling in the circle. Let me see if I can show this. This is a good time to come up with this scenario. I've had this in my brain for a long time. Let me just come up with some new shit. Some new shit. Some new shit. All right. Let's see. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hold on, people. What we got here? It's about time. How much daylight you had to complete your task? Give me time to load. Give me time to load the bowl. Chris Cole says, yet most little towns had 2 main public items what? 2 main public items is public items a well for water, and most of the time somewhere in the town was a sundial. That's right. It wasn't that important. You didn't really, everybody didn't set their sights by some time that was mostly for if you needed to be specific, but most people worked by the light of day. It had to do with the light of day. Even Tesla based everything with numbers for reference, where he thought everything coexisted with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Yeah, I do that too. I do that too sometimes. I do that too sometimes. But yeah, people don't understand. Sometimes these systems are all systems to take freedom away from you. We think that it's a system that builds things, that makes things easier for us to live free. But what it is doing is with restraining you. These are all systems of restraint to keep you from acting out of line, to make sure that you don't have time. You seen what happened during Corona, right? During the illy ill. What happened during the illy ill? A lot of people didn't want to work, and so they stayed home because the government told them not to work, and they got afraid. Oh, I'm afraid of the illy ill, and I don't want to put myself out, jeopardize this and that, all this, right? So now, when it's time to go back, nobody wants to go back. Nobody wants to go back. They said, fuck all that time to travel and the time to go to punch into somebody else's office and the time. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it, right? So now has to be allowances because people want to be free. So there should be another way to handle these systems. That's why I came up with that New World Order thing. I think the best way is to get rid of money. Money is the biggest thing, and we're going to use that. We're going to come back to this topic when it comes time for money, because that's coming up soon. Money is another system of control, and we don't need these things. All of these things, shoot, maybe next Monday. Maybe next Monday we're going to tap on money's door. Because the one thing I know, the one thing that I am certain of is this.
Control. The Matrix built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Everything that we see today in the world is built to turn your efforts into money for somebody else, because you're the prize. You're the one who makes anybody rich. People think that rich people make jobs and these people, the government makes it. No, the jobs are there. We can do whatever we want. If a group of people came together and say we're gonna make this, we can make it. We don't need the government. Look at Ethan Van Sciver by himself doing Cyberfrog and blowing up. This is a man who did it by himself. He had some help from Kyle Ritter, 2 men, 3 men if you put in Eric Weathers, the letterer. So they built $1 million campaign. Into what? Because just people came together and agreed to put it out. Now, even without, say we didn't need money, he could still put that out. He could still put out the work and put that out for people to enjoy. And according to how many people enjoyed his thing and really said, yo, make more. I want to see more of this. This is how you gauge the worth and value of things and how much work you should have to do. Because not everybody can be an artist, but imagine if you was to get rid of money or get rid of some of these systems of control, like money and like time, right? Well, like I said, even with time, you're still going to need to keep some of them, because in order to coordinate and not be, and because we're such a large nation of people, and unless you could plan on wiping ourselves out to a more reasonable level of existence as far as people on the planet, inhabiting the planet, we'll still need some of these systems. But the laws, all of these things, which is another system of control that I'm going to jump all over. So I'm just trying to get people to realize you don't need these things, and you can understand these things and understand that they exist. But if we all came together and decided, yo, because capitalism, everything that we understand the world to be as far as the United States, we could change that. We could bring all of the things we want back. Animation. I remember when animation was a great thing for the United States. We had some really good animation, homegrown animation. Now everything is shipped overseas because manpower and pay scales. They have more manpower and a lot lower pay scale, so they can do the job cheaper. Well, if we got rid of money, we could do any job we wanted. Any job we wanted. And we could bring all of those jobs here. But I'll talk about the rest of that on another New World Order stream. But for now, we're going to get back to this time thing, because we're going to get, I want to discuss on how we come up with the idea of time. And it has the shortest orbit in the solar system. Now listen, 3 Earth months. So a year on Mercury is 3 Earth months. Now, what would time be on that? If you calculated time according to 3 Earth months instead of 365 days, 12 Earth months, what would time be then? What would time be then? What would your calculations for time space be? And for light years and for light speed, what would those be then if your calculations for time went by the orbit and the rotation of Mercury, right? Yeah, that's what we're trying to get. That's what we're trying to get to. What happened to Venus? Oh, we just did Venus. Sorry. Stuck on stupid. Hold it on. Hold on. Sorry. See, they ain't saying, how come they ain't say the rotation of all of, well, we know the rotation of Earth, but they didn't say the rotation of Venus. See, they're not telling the rotation. See, I thought that they would have told the rotation of all of them. See, I thought they would have told the rotation of all of them. See, that's what I didn't know. But that's what they, and they all have different rotations. They all have different orbits around the sun. So which one is the accurate time? How do you calculate time when soon as you leave Earth's orbit, time ceases to exist as we know it? So if then the solar system has all of these different planets with all different calculations of time, if you were standing on the different planets, and what if you were standing on a moon of Saturn or a moon of Jupiter? What time would that be? Because now that has an orbit around the planet and then another orbit around the sun. What kind of time calculations would that take to calculate space-time and light speed and the dark energy and dark matter and all of those things, because all of that has to do with time and space-time and the calculations of space-time and E equals mc squared and all of these other calculations that they throw in to their equations. That's how they come up with it. They're not just looking into outer space and saying, oh, this is what's happening over there and this is what's happening over there. No, they're plugging calculations into a formula, a mathematical equation. And they're saying if one side, if this side, the left side equals the right side, then our theory is plausible. Doesn't make it right. It's just plausible. And then they're coming to you and saying, yeah, we know, but we don't know. And y'all are going for it. Y'all are going for it. So, okay, now imagine you're in the solar system, right? Hold on, they're going to be doing some calculations here. Now, we don't need to know that. We don't need to know that. See, we don't need to know these. Okay. See, I thought the Kuiper belt, I thought the Kuiper belt was in between Mars and Jupiter. I thought there was an asteroid field in between Mars and Jupiter that was called the Kuiper belt. Now, I don't know if it's changed since I was a kid or I just got that shit wrong. But I thought that was where the Kuiper belt was, and then past Pluto was the Oort cloud. But it seems like everything is more, I don't know. Now I have to tell you, I love this stuff. So I'm talking all of this stuff about how all of this stuff is fake, or a lot of it, the astrophysicists are talking out their ass. Well, I believe some of the stuff that they say are correct. They can see Oort clouds, and I can understand that stuff being there. I do think there are some things that are real about what they see, but I don't believe that they can calculate things that the way that they claim they are. So all these things that you hear them bringing up, such as time and space time and black hole. Well, black holes, okay, because even though they don't really, they claim that they found a black hole, but I suspect that they have to keep coming up with something. So I don't believe that they found any black hole, but it doesn't matter one way or the other, because even if they did, there's nothing that they could really do about it. Nothing that they find out there is going to change anything we do here on the planet, even if they have found it. But I don't believe that they have that technology. I don't believe that they have that intelligence. I think that a lot of things is just gassing us up. I really believe that dark matter and all of these things are just explanations, other bullshit they pulled out of their ass in order to explain other bullshit that they couldn't explain with the bullshit that they came up with before, the previous bullshit. So they're trying to fill the gaps. They're trying to fill the gaps. So there's some things, and no matter what, no matter how bad, how much stuff that I say against it, this stuff is fascinating, and I use it all the time to create characters for Might, the graphic novel. Might, the graphic novel, is going to be one of the biggest, baddest things that ever come along. But hold on, let me get to this here. Let me see if I can tell y'all. This is what I was going to tell y'all about. We'll get right back to that. But I want to explain something. Okay. Now, say, for example, let me check to see where we at. Make sure everything is working right. Nope. Oh, buddy. Am I sharing? I don't think I'm sharing. Oh, buddy, I don't think I'm sharing. Oh, right. Oh, I stopped sharing. Somebody didn't tell me. Okay. All right. I messed up there. I don't know what I missed out on. what you guys missed out on. Let me see. Did I talk about this guy on stream? Did I show this when I was talking about the Matrix and Control?
There were 5 months before, when no one knows.
Precisely. Anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
You can't control me. This is the part where I was talking about you can't control me, and how the system, the Matrix is designed to control people. And that's what our systems are controlled to do. This is what part I was talking about.
Choice. The problem is choice.
The problem is choice. People having choice to do whatever they want is a hard thing to calculate. So in giving people choices that they think that they're getting, just like this guy says, even on a subconscious level.
First matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, mental failure. The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent. The inevitability of its doom is
shut up.
Mental failure. The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every human being.
Choice.
So you designed it, based on your history, to more accurately reflect the varying grotesqueries of your nature.
They needed to suffer. Like we need to suffer in order to enjoy life. We have to have the pitfalls and all of that. The challenge of life. Perfection is unattainable. And to try to have own imperfect or perfection is the downfall. And that's what I think people are striving for right now with all of these modern thinking and inclusion and all of this crap. I think that's the perfection that's going to be the downfall. Because it's not perfection. It's not.
But I was again frustrated by failure. I have since come to understand that the answer eluded me because it required a lesser mind, or perhaps a mind less bound by the parameters of perfection.
See? A mind that's less restrained, a freer mind. And that's what they can't have, free thinking. You have to think along a certain guidelines. That's what the Matrix is all about, having you think along certain guidelines. So I think we pop back in now. Okay, we was talking about the solar system, and that's why I was over here showing y'all. Oh no, that's the wrong one. No, this is the Milky Way. Oh no, yeah, this is the solar system. This is our solar system. Now, if this is our solar system, yeah, okay. If this is our solar system, right? Right here, this little dot right here. And time exists the way we understand it on Earth. Back here, where was that? On Earth, as 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, 60 seconds in an hour, 60 minutes, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day. That's how we calculate time. So if that's the case, and if this is our solar system, and calculating time on just Earth alone, as soon as you leave the Earth's surface, you're basically working on nothing, because you can't calculate that time. So now you look at this. You look at this solar system, right? Our solar system is in here on one of these arms of the Milky Way, right? One of these radiating arms that comes out from the middle, right? Pretty much in the middle from the center. Looks like it. It's not important, but I'm gauging how wide out. It's pretty much somewhere near the center. So do we now say how long does it take the solar system to go around the Milky Way and come back to this point? And how do we calculate that? How many rotations? Are there any kind of rotations in the solar system? You know what I'm saying? How do you calculate that? And then on top of it, how do you calculate the all right, let me see if I can. How do you calculate
galaxies called the local group?
If you think of the Milky Way galaxy as a city like Los Angeles, then you can think of these as counties all within the state of California. And together, this local group makes up the entire state.
Yeah, but
Besides our huge Milky Way and the even larger Andromeda galaxy.
okay. Now you see there's a whole group of galaxies. So that means in some way there's a universe, like, well, in every way. But how do we know what's going on in the universe? And there's some kind of way, just like in calculating the Earth's movements around the sun. And even though we can't calculate it, I bet you if there's an alien race out there looking on, they could probably calculate some kind of a time system for the Milky Way and Earth in some kind of galactic time system. It would be crazy, complicated, but I bet you it'll blow the Earth scenario out the water, right? Because the Earth scenario is so limited. It would have to be connected to the galactic time system, but again, how do you calculate that, especially from that position? How do you calculate from looking at it like this? Basically, this is why I don't understand, because imagine looking at the solar system from the side directly, which is basically how we would look at it, because we would be inside looking across all of these stars, and then to say that we could see through all of these stars to the center of the galaxy, I just find that very difficult to believe. So I think everything is calculations for them. And so I think it's a lot of gaslighting. I think that they don't know what they're talking about. I think they just give you the best scenario that they could come up with, and they let you believe what you want after that. And I think that we need to stop believing that mankind is as great as we claim ourselves to be, because I don't think we are anywhere near as great as what we pretend to be. That's why we're destroying ourselves. We're destroying ourselves, not the planet. We're destroying ourselves. So let's get back over here. Yeah. Again, for me, I love getting lost in that outer space stuff. I always have, because it's one of the it's always given me a place for my brain to explore. And like I said, I've been creating characters great deal of joy and expectation on my part because this is something that I wanted to do. Not particularly this story, but the whole creating comic books and superheroes and being able, because I've been creating superheroes for a long time, since 95. So more before that, since the 80s, early 80s, maybe 70, 79, 76, somewhere around there. So it's been a long time I've been creating characters, and for the first time, I'm going to be bringing some of those characters to you. And with the help of all of the stuff that I talk about, of outer space and all of that thing. So these 3 characters are going to be from outer space, and they're going to help me to introduce Mike to outer space later on down the line. But there's going to be a lot of things that we need to take care of on the planet first. The magic and the mystery and all, and the powerful beings and the powerful groups that want to destroy the planet or control the planet and do what they want to. But Mike and his people are here to save you from these arrogant assholes who want to subjugate the world. And so, yeah, Mike is going to do that for y'all. So, yeah, we're going to get back to talking about time now. And then maybe we can do a few things. I think I've said a lot. And that was the last video I had on time. Just so to wrap it up, though, again, the Matrix is real. You're living in it every day. You just have been living in it so long, you don't know anything else. You don't know that there could be other ways of living because everybody tells you, no, this is the only best way. How do you know that? You've never tried it. You've never tried it to do anything any other way besides what we've known. And we've known only this way of living. But what if you try to do things another way? At least try to understand the Matrix is not your friend. It's helping to suppress who you truly are. And it's not about destroying the Matrix. It's molding it into what we need it to be to help us, because destruction of the Matrix will take us back to primitive life. And that's not what I'm talking about. But becoming free of the Matrix to where we are in control. That's the goal. So remember, if you're still connected to the Matrix, you're a possible agent. So don't be an agent. Think for yourself. Look at the things around you. Look and see what these things are that are not real, that you put so much faith and you lend so much power to, that you give away your own strengths. You give away your own powers. You give away everything because you want to believe in these things. And once you start understanding and putting things in their place, understanding how unreal these things, they lose their power and you gain more strength. And that's what I'm talking about, trying to gain strength, because who knows? People are working to enslave you, to make you even more dependent. And sometimes standing up, and I'm not talking about revolutions and fighting wars and all of that. Standing up, just being able to stand up and say, no, that's not what I want. This is not what I'm about. This is sometimes better than accepting. Because if y'all see where life is going, the Matrix got a hold on you. The Matrix has got a hold on you. Everybody's trying to tell you what to do. Nobody's trying to let you live in peace. Everyone has got something. No matter what racist individual things that came out back in the days, people were allowed to sit back and relax and enjoy themselves when times were not about work. Now you have to look at ugly people. When you see ugly people every day, you see ugly people every day, and then you got to come back and home and watch ugly people on TV because of ideological bull crap. So we need to wake up. We can't let weak people who don't understand power, because the matrix, people who don't understand power, and the matrix eats up. They're too connected. Weak people are going to be connected the most to the matrix. They're going to be the most indoctrinated, the most spewing their ideals and ideological things that are cemented in the matrix and how the matrix works to keep you in your place. So that's what I got to tell you guys, man. I just wanted to let y'all know. And let me see, maybe we can go over here to Comics CG Tracker and check out a little bit of some Comicsgate merchant, some Comicsgate books that are out. Now, let me see. We've got, and I know we have some Battle Maiden. Yeah. Let me see. I think this one is. Oh, is this in demand? Yes, funding. 10 days left. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb 2 Standard Edition. This is by Kyung Lee. And got a $15 USD United States. Then he doesn't have a feature tier. He should have a feature tier. Oh, he made it real simple. Only 3. So pick the books that you want. We know Kyung has his sexy women. Look at that. Look at the action. Anime style. Black and white. I don't know if there's going to be any color. I wasn't able to get the first book. My funds is limited. If I started spending money, I'm telling you, I would be broke. If I started spending money on all of the books that I saw that I wanted, I would have been broke. From between the graveyard shifts and I'm not sure I would have I'm not sure I would have done I'm not sure I would have went with Zach's what's the name of his group? I'm not sure I would have gotten that. Only because I heard that it was not well done. And so I don't think I would have been disappointed, and then I would have kind of just fell off of all of his stuff, because though the art looked like it was pretty good, I still would have wanted some kind of, I would have expected a better storytelling thing going on. I know you need to let him, he's his first book, and it would have been an opportunity. I don't know. I might have went with the second book and gave him a chance, but after that, I don't know if I'd, because I heard so many different reviews, and I don't know, too many of them was stellar. I didn't see here. I would have wanted to hear the bad reviews, because a good review, I would have rather heard the bad reviews, because a bad review would have let me know more of what I needed to look for, especially if it was well done. And bad reviews that I've heard, yeah, I would have been kind of glad to stay away from the leathernecks or what? The jam juju, the jacket jummers, the jim. But I'm not saying that it's not a good book. Like I said, I wasn't able to get it, but most of the reviews that I've seen about that one, and that was the only one that I would have needed a review for, I think, because I wasn't sure about that book. It was one of the first books to come out. And just like I would have waited for Ethan Van Sciver's too, because it was one of the first ones. But then once I saw him do the review himself, he did his own review of the book on. That's what I said. Okay, it looked good. I knew it was going to look good, but the story, it was working. It worked for me, and I didn't realize when I did my review that he was looking for so much feedback as to the size of the letters and everything like that. I would have gone back, but it was already too late. I should have did that. I should have made sure I did every little read through, because I didn't read the book. I depended on what Ethan said, and I just took it that it was something that I already was committed to getting because I liked it and I wanted to follow the story. So, but a lot of other books like I would have gotten in on if I would have had it, the cash to spend around like I did back in the days. Because back in the days I had everything. I got everything, and everything I could get my hands on at the time. It didn't matter if it looked good to me. I get the chance to thumb through it, because I had people who would save books for me, so they'd let me finger through the books and all of that, and I'd buy a whole stack of them, sometimes two. If the art was really good, I'd get two of each. So yeah, or if it was a #1 issue or something like that, I'd get two, so I could put one away and not really mess with it, and then I could mess up the other one however I wanted. So yeah, Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Why am I tongue tied? Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. It's a tongue twister. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Battle Maiden. Yeah, that's the tongue twister. So yeah, go and check out Kyung Lee's Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. And I saw somebody I did a video for. I did a video, but I didn't really I didn't do it for him. I did it on my own, and I kind of, do I still have that? Yeah, I do. I think I do have it still up. But I wanted to do a little look at that. I think he's around 13,000. There he is, 11,000. Shadow Century Book 2. Because I liked his art. And I thought it was really good. The concept was good enough. You know, this basic good against evil is pretty straightforward. I think he says there's a romance between good and an evil, so the highborn and a lowborn. So yeah, the art is good, and he's showing action. That's what I'm working on right now. My action pages. Working on my action pages. I don't know what I want to do with my panel work. See how he got the stuff overlaying here, and this coming from right out the corner. I don't know what I want to do. I'm trying to bring some new shit to my look. So I'm playing with a lot of different, for my action. It's pretty straightforward for the dialogue stuff, the exposition, but my action, I just want to have it. See how he's tilting the frames and he's using these pen strokes to create the borders and different things. See, I'm examining all of these things and seeing what I might do and how I'm going to put things in the backgrounds and all of these things. Yeah, this looks good. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get my inks to look at. I'm trying to find it. I could do some of it, but it's not to the point where I'm satisfied. I'm not happy, and I can't give somebody something that I'm not happy with. I can't, because I think I draw very well. It's just my opinion, and I think I have a seat. I think I could sit in the room with a lot of these artists. Might be at the back of the room. I'm not saying no, but I believe that I can sit in the room with a lot of these artists. So, yeah. It looks good. Looks good. Ninja Scroll inspired, and I'm definitely a Ninja Scroll man. I bought the movie back in the days on VHS. Ninja Scroll, Akira, Demons, the Demon City. There's a lot of them that I got back then. 3x3 Eyes. A lot of those animes. So all of those things helps to mold my story, creating ideas. Oh yeah, Legend of Crystania, Record of Lodoss War, Warriors of the Wind. Man, I can go on and on. It's just so many great animated joints came out. Animated movies that had really good action and blood and all of that stuff that helped me, because before that, only thing that I could see was regular children's type cartoons, animated features and stuff. And then I saw movies like Lord of the Rings, the animated, and then Fire and Ice. I saw this 3D movie called Orin, the Last Star Chaser, Legend of the Star Chasers, or Last Star Chaser. I think it's Legend of the Star Chaser. So that one was a pretty good one, but it didn't really have a lot of blood in it, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched that in a minute. I think I just got that on Blu-ray not too long ago, luckily, because that's a hard one to find. And just like most of those animes that I had back in the day on VHS, very difficult for me to find. I think I've only found 4 or 5 of them out of like 30, 40 different movies that I've got on VHS. So many different ones. So after I seen Fire and Ice and Lord of the Rings, and that's when I started. That's what pushed me into wanting to tell stories. Seeing those animated movies and seeing that there was more, because even in the comic books, you didn't really see a whole lot of hacking and slashing. Even with Wolverine in the subway, I think most of the stuff you seen was in black and silhouette. So you didn't, even when he was cutting through people, you didn't really see a lot of blood. The blood was black, if I'm not mistaken. So they steered away from showing the blood and guts and all of that. But then you start seeing little things, and then Akira really opened it up. The craziness he's seen in Akira with his body and the different destructive capabilities and all of that smoke and debris and the way it looked so fantastic. The things that were happening was so fantastic. So yeah, in that movie, and that's what really opened my eyes. So when I started doing my Stone Guard story, it was all about cinematics. I was trying to draw a movie. I wasn't drawing a comic book. Everything was one page, splash pages. Everything that I was drawing was illustrations. They weren't panel work. And then I started thinking about creating superheroes, and that's when I created Mega and a couple of other characters, and that's when I started actually forming my panel works and starting. But that was back in the 90s, and now I'm starting all over from scratch because I had stopped doing that, and now I'm starting all over from scratch. So now I am almost to the point to where I'm ready to do the same thing that these guys are doing and getting a campaign up. And I'll be right there, buddy. I'm going to be on that campaign trail just talking, and I'm going to have a lot to say because I'm going to have a lot of characters with a lot of storylines to talk about, but they're going to be woven in really nicely and neatly. I'm not going to be throwing a whole lot of stuff at y'all. It's going to be nice stories that fit. And once one ends, I'll throw in a couple more. I'll throw it just so that y'all get to know everybody. And eventually, all of them will have their own, I guess, like subplots to tell. And when the storylines slow down in between the major events, that's when I'll bring those stories to y'all and get to really get to know these guys, the heroes, and their origin stories and all of that. So yeah, get to Shadow Sentry, Belly of the Beast, Book 2 by Eric Ninatowski, and welcome. Oh, I didn't put on the share the audio. That's what I should have did, but we should have did that because that would have gave them the best opportunities. Okay, let's come back and we'll share that, and then we'll be out of here. We'll be out of here. We got 15 more minutes, so we'll share that video. Let's share the video. If we got a video for Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb, we will check that one out too. Let's go to Battle Maiden. Let's go to Battle Maiden. Here's a video.
Hard-hitting, super-powered martial arts action.
One more time. One more again.
Hard-hitting, super-powered martial arts action returns in the second issue of Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. Caught in the web of deception, Zaya fights against the fiendish Black Sun Cabal. With fists of fury, buns of steel, and thick thighs that save lives, Zaya is the hero that Kaigon City desperately needs. The 64-page standard edition of BNKB2, along with the run-back promotion, offering up our Premier Edition books for the last time, are available for a limited time on Indiegogo.
Oh, I can't wait to get my campaign up. I know I'm slow, but that's because I have a lot to bring you guys. Okay, that was really good. Kyung Lee, very good. And now we're going to do Eric Ninotowski's Shadow Sentry, the Shadow Sentry. Yeah, let's get back to this.
Shadow Sentry. Book 2 is a 50-page graphic novel that picks up right on the heels of Book 1.
That picks up
Jason
right on the
Augustine,
heels.
the son of a highborn and hellborn, has been hidden away these past 18 years, but now has resurfaced due to his own brush with death. The Shadow Sentry have managed to rescue Jason from Vengeance's grasp, but now Bloodbane and Hopscotch have managed to track him down. Let the battle begin. The Shadow Sentry and Hellborn battle it out in an epic battle you won't want to miss. Action, adventure, horror. Shadow Sentry has it all in this X-Men meets the Matrix superhero team book with a supernatural twist. Back it today, only on Indiegogo.
That's good. Right to the point. Good versus evil. What can you want, man? Back Shadow Sentry, Book 2, Belly of the Beast. And thanks for coming through here. Spending some time with me while I shoot the shit. Thanks a lot. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Spending time. And I'm going to have to get up out of here because I'm hungry. Got to get some food in my belly. And we're going to come back again the next Monday with more of the Matrix Doctrine. And we're probably going to be talking about money. Things like that. And look for me during the week. We're going to be talking about, or tomorrow, we're going to be back here for the Power Matrix. And we're going to be talking about comic books, movies, and we're going to be talking about our children. Our children. We're going to need to look out for our children, folks, because they're using comics, movies, cartoons to recruit your kids. And they said it, not me. They said it, not me. So anyway, again, keep an eye